Quick question. Which is more dangerous? A shark or your breakfast? Last year, in the United States, sharks killed 1 person. Diabetes killed about 95,000. Your brain knows this number. Your brain does not feel this number. One of these 2 images is burned into memory. The other is invisible. This is not an accident. This is a shortcut your brain runs every time it tries to answer the question, how likely is this? And the shortcut is broken in exactly the way that media, politicians, and marketers need it to be. Your brain lies to you about risk. Here's the proof. The shortcut has a name, the availability heuristic. Formally, when you estimate how often something happens, you don't count. You reach into memory, and whatever comes back fastest wins. Informally, if you can picture it, your brain marks it common. If you can't, your brain marks it rare. That is the entire calculation. You just used it. I asked about sharks, and you pictured the fin above the water. The picture was easy. Diabetes is a word, not an image. The picture was hard. Your risk estimate followed the picture, not the number. This bias has been documented in hundreds of peer-reviewed studies across 5 decades. The effect is one of the most durable in all of psychology. The original experiment is from 1973. Amos Tversky, and Daniel Kahneman, working at Hebrew University, published a paper called Availability, a heuristic for judging frequency and probability. It ran in the journal Cognitive Psychology. They asked 152 participants a simple question. In typical English writing, does the letter K appear more often as the first letter of a word or as the 3rd letter? About 69% said first. The correct answer is 3rd, by roughly a factor of 2. K 3rd is twice as common as K 1st. Why did everyone get it wrong? Because kitchen, kangaroo, and kite come to mind in 1 second, and knack, bake, or duck do not. The brain was not counting letters. The brain was counting the ease of generating examples. Tversky and Kahneman wrote, quote, "Availability is a useful clue for assessing frequency or probability." Their word was clue, not measure. Follow-up studies in 1978 by Sarah Lichtenstein, and Paul Slovic, used real mortality data and found the same pattern on life and death. People rated rare, dramatic causes more frequent than common, quiet ones. Homicide felt more common than suicide, though suicide kills about twice as many Americans every year. This is the bias. Now watch what happens when somebody aims it at you on purpose. Take aviation. Last year, the United States had 39,000 motor vehicle deaths. Civil aviation had about 300 and 0 on scheduled commercial flights. Commercial flying is, by a factor of roughly 120, safer than driving to the airport. A single plane crash, though, will generate weeks of national coverage. 108 people die on American roads every single day, and most of them never make the local news. Ask a room full of adults which one scares them more. Watch the hands. Take sharks. In 2024, 1 American died from a shark bite. In the same year, diabetes killed around 95,000. Ratio, about 100,000 to 1 in the diabetes direction. Every shark fatality gets a cable news segment. Every day's 280 diabetes deaths get nothing. After the so-called Summer of the Shark in 2001, beach tourism in Florida dropped, during a year where shark attacks were actually below average. A phantom epidemic built entirely out of editorial choices. Take terrorism. Since September 11, 2001, Islamist terrorism has killed roughly 6 Americans per year on average. The Cato Institute count. American suicides in 2024 alone were about 49,000. Ratio, roughly 8,000 to 1, in the suicide direction. Federal counterterrorism spending has run well over $100 billion a year. Federal suicide prevention spending sits under $1 billion. Policy follows the available image, not the available data. This is not stupidity. This is the availability heuristic functioning exactly as designed, on inputs it was never designed for. Why does the brain do this? Because for most of human history, it worked. In a small band of hunter-gatherers, if you could easily recall a predator attack, it was because one had happened nearby, recently, to someone you knew. Vividness was a reliable proxy for local frequency. The algorithm was cheap, fast, and correct enough to keep you alive. Your hippocampus stored the event. Your amygdala tagged it emotional. Your next decision avoided the tall grass. The input has changed. The algorithm hasn't. Your brain now receives, through a phone, the most vivid event in a population of 300 million people, flagged, repeated, and scored for engagement. That image lands in the same hippocampus that used to store. A leopard was seen by the river last month. The brain cannot tell the difference. This is the core mechanism manipulators exploit. You cannot turn the availability heuristic off. You can starve it. 3 techniques have research behind them. 1. Frequency framing. When somebody says, a 30% chance of side effects, ask for 3 out of every 10 patients. Gerd Gigerenzer's Giger and Zier work at the Max Planck Institute shows that frequency framing reduces probability errors dramatically. It forces a concrete denominator into a vague feeling. 2. Base rate anchoring. Before you estimate how dangerous something is, find the real number. Carry more wedges, more wedge. 2015 training study and policy insights showed that a single training session reduced biased judgments for at least 2 months. Generic think critically warnings did nothing. Specific training did. 3. Silent evidence. For every vivid story in the news, ask what you are not seeing. Every plane that lands, every day without a terrorist attack, every person managing their diabetes well. A sample filtered by cameras is not a sample of the world. What doesn't work? Telling yourself, I'm aware of the bias, so I won't fall for it. Awareness alone has near zero measurable effect. The bias is faster than your awareness. Structure, not willpower, is the fix. Which is more dangerous? A shark or your breakfast? You know now. Your brain still doesn't. That's the point. The availability heuristic will keep running. The next time you scroll, the next time a candidate names a threat, the next time an ad decides what you should be afraid of. The shortcut doesn't care about you. It cares about what it can picture. Your job is to give it better pictures, or to stop trusting the ones it already has. If your brain has been lying to you about risk this whole time, there's a lot more to catch it doing.